I can't stand her disrespect anymore. I want my mojo back, is what a man said to me recently, one of my one-on-one clients. And he wrote this: I've been doing better lately, but I just lost it with my wife. I honestly don't know how I will survive being married to someone like her. She meets none of my non-negotiable things: trust, respect, dependable, trustworthy, reliable, teammate, communicative, verbal love language, emotional support, and empathy. He wrote, it's so hard. I try and stay calm, mountain lion. She does notice, and then she throws shade and says I'm faking it, etc. No, that's the man I want to be. But I'm a work in progress and still susceptible to my emotions and sadness and anger. And this is very common. I don't know how I will survive. I actually found this. I like to search Reddit once in a while just to see what guys and lay people out there are saying. And this man wrote, my wife is snappy and rude to me so often, but the few times I am to her, she acts like I've committed an atrocity against her. Honestly, it's ridiculous. She's short, snappy, rude on things that are bothering her, or even when I didn't do something wrong, but I don't respond to it, or sometimes I will tell her in the moment. Over time, this has led to me doing the same thing to her, back to her sometimes. And when I do, she gets so upset and acts like I've wronged her so badly. And when I tell her it's no different than what she does to me, it just makes her more upset. Honestly, I don't even know what to do about that. And I want to ask the men here about, so how would you handle the situation? Imagine, I know it's crazy. Imagine that there's this fantastical place where your wife is sometimes rude, snappy, short, and dumps things on you that's bothering her. So how would you deal with the situation, or how have you learned to deal with the situation? Or maybe you're facing that now. Let's talk about this.
So I've always been a fan of the last 9 months of the Charlie Sheen method of I understand. Charlie Sheen from Two and a Half Men, there's this episode or series of episodes where he's talking to some woman, whether it's his brother's wife or some girl he's dating, and they're just going on these rants about all these things that are upsetting them, either about him or about other people in their lives. And he just has this very concerned look on his face and says, I understand, over and over and over. And at the end of every conversation, the woman goes, you know what? You are such a good listener. Thank you. Thank you for that. And keeps on bringing more problems. And he just, I understand. And then turns away from the camera and goes, I don't understand.
Yeah. So what does that mean to you? How do you use that? How do you think about that?
It's, I think it's a way for me to detach emotionally from the situation, whether it's about me or someone else or something else, whether or not I agree with whatever's going on or have an opinion about it. Putting up that I understand situation is a way for me to emotionally detach and step back and keep reminding myself as I'm saying that this isn't about me. This isn't about anything. This is about her, something that she feels the need to express, and that me stepping in or giving opinions or pointing it back on her or saying, you know, you do this to me all the time, and that's not, she's not being heard, she's not feeling seen. It doesn't make her feel safe in the situation. It just puts up more walls between us, whereas me saying I understand makes her feel like she's being heard, even if I'm not really understanding anything that she's saying. It gives her that feeling, which is what's important in the situation, at least to diffuse her down to a point where we can actually talk about what's going on.
Yeah, that's well, but it gives you a little playbook. And even if at first you're not sure what the hell is going on, it helps you. You're shaking your head, but it
Very
gives you a little
rarely do I know what's
playbook,
going on.
yeah, of something that's effective where you're not just reactionary or you're lost in the woods every time this happens. Yeah, that's well put.
A small thought, though. One of the reasons I don't like that idea is if I don't understand, I don't want to sit there and lie to her, which, I could say I'm listening or I'm hearing you. Because when you say I understand and you don't really get it, you're just condescending to the
Mm.
to your conversational partner. Oh yeah, I understand that. I have no fucking, I mean the joke of Charlie Sheen, of course, is
Right. I mean, it's first of all, it's a comedy, of
I know,
course, and
obviously,
right,
obviously.
and we're making fun of placating the woman, of course, which is not what. Okay, so take us a step further there. You would say, "I'm listening."
I'm listening. I might actually say I'm doing my best to understand. Or something. I'm not going to tell somebody I understand if I don't understand, or just I'm listening, or I'm hearing you, or something like that.
Yeah, there you go. I hear you. I think
I
that's
hear you. I
what
hear
the
you.
idea is. I hear
Yeah.
you. Okay. So
Listen,
yeah, go one level deeper. Where does that I'm imagining, okay, that's nice, Mr. T-Rex and Jeff, but what if she says, "No, you don't," or "You're just pandering to me," or "Do you really understand?" Or what happens if she challenges you a bit? Take us from there.
suppose it's yeah, she's on me about something. I don't quite get it. I actually think she's overreacting, all that kind of stuff. Okay, that's kind of a common position. I'm sure many men here have been in that position.
Never before, but go ahead. Yeah, I'll
Yeah, okay,
imagine.
not you, but nobody, but no, and you're like, look, I'm listening, and she's like, no, you're not. You're not listening. You never listen. Say, look, I'm doing, at the bottom, at the end of the day, I'm doing my best. And at some point, you got to just say, if she's not going to accept that, you got nothing else. There has to be just some point where you just shrug your shoulder, you can't do any better. So I have had occasion to say that. Just, look, I'm doing my best.
Mm. Yeah, I like so how do you get to that point? So I have a new client. He's a physician out of the Northeast, respected at work. They've been married over 20 years, and he does his best trying to be a father and take care of their three kids. She stays home. The kids are teenagers now, and so she doesn't really have a lot going on in her life, and she can go to more things and take care of more doctor's appointments and stuff like that. And she chastises him for not doing as much as she does with the kids, and he tries to be there and understand, but she keeps raking him over the coals that it's somehow not fair, the amount of work that she's doing and the doctor's appointments and stuff like this. So you don't listen to me. This never changes. How do you get to the point then, Mr. T-Rex, where you're just okay if she's not okay?
Oh, I'm not saying I'm okay.
Sure.
But I don't look at, I mean, my situation is different from the client who's still kind of actively in a marriage. But I mean, I have had periods where I've had to say, look, that's all I've got for you.
Hmm.
That's the best I can do. I'm doing my best. I'm listening. I'm hearing. I don't know if I can completely inhabit your world, but I'm trying to see this from your point of view, and that's the best I can do.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Let me ask
Yeah.
Cynthia a
And I
question.
think sometimes it lands, and you know what? Sometimes it doesn't. But there's an end of the road where you nothing more you can say or
That's
do.
right. That's well put. That's why I want to ask Cynthia about this. So let's pause for a second.
Yeah.
Imagine that he tries to keep pandering to her when she challenges him in that way versus him realizing T-Rex, Mr. T-Rex, realizing this is what I've got. This is the best that I can do. I'm okay with myself. I don't have to try to fix her or dance like a jester here in the court and to try to distract her or something. I'm doing the best that I can, and that's what I've got, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. Tell us the differences in a woman's reaction there, or her visceral, instinctual feelings about the man in front of her, one way or the other.
Yeah, well, I really respect and honor what you said about, it's the end of the road. That is such a powerful, I feel that is such a powerful place in you. Not going on the detour that she's trying to push on. And the push comes in a woman when whatever she's feeling, whatever's pressurizing her on the inside, she wants to get out. She wants to get out onto you. She wants you to take it on in a way where she feels better, less pressurized. And there's a really good part of that. I think evolutionarily, instinctually, women want to know that they're understood or and the details that they're presenting, even if it's the too many details are understood because it meant their survival. But now it's become something that can be a really bad habit in her. It's like Alison Armstrong talks about you holding the bucket, but her habit is I want you to hold all the buckets so I feel a sense of relief. And she won't know. She'll just keep pushing that, wanting to give you more and more and more and more until she feels that end of the road energy. And that's where respect starts. And that's where her self accountability and self responsibility can start.
So okay, let's take it from there. If she's being then forced to face this bit of end of the road, you as a man are no longer just holding bucket after bucket. Hey, this is what I have. I want to be here for you. That's the best I can do is the energy. What is she then forced to do? What would a woman's work look like from there? How would she grow from that point? What would a man see in her growth from there?
Well, there probably will be some adverse reaction at first because she's not getting to just continue pushing the boundary like she always has. Growth looks like when you have a statement that's your end of the road statement, that she doesn't just immediately start pushing again, almost drawing the energy back in, almost taking a sip of her own water. And there's a place where she has to embody it herself. She might just be quiet for a really long time with that. And that might turn into a almost like, well, I'm not going to talk to you then. But the quietness is a good thing. It's a self-integration. And another step of growth could be like, oh, there could be a comment about her taking accountability and even a, hey, I'm sorry, or I know you've mentioned this before, or even an appreciation toward you to what you do listen to and hear from her.
I'm just finishing reading, actually listening to, and I went through it for the second time on the I Hear You book. And so what the author there recommends is not just acknowledging that you're hearing the person, but also validating their thoughts. That's kind of step two, right? And validating it maybe with a reason. So you say something sort of like, so you're feeling upset, right? Or you try to identify the specific emotion, and then you say, well, I'd feel upset too if I were in your shoes. That bitch at work shouldn't treat you like that, or whatever. You're not just doing the reflective responding stuff, which is quite frankly kind of annoying, right? You say I'm sad, and the therapist says, I hear you saying you're sad, and I'm like, yeah, what the fuck are you what am I paying you for? I know that. So this author suggests that you follow up, try to explain that you hear what they're saying by identifying a specific emotion, and then sort of saying, and I would feel that way. Or even if you don't agree with them, you say, I can see how you would feel that way.
Yeah, totally. And so let me ask you from there. That's a good book, by the way. I recommend to every guy. I Hear You. I think it's by Sorensen, Michael
Yes.
Sorensen, if I'm, yeah.
Yeah.
So from there, and I think you even asked me about this one-on-one in an email. Well, then my wife challenges me and says I'm just regurgitating out of a book or someone else told me to say that. So what's your first blush on how to handle that situation?
I haven't gotten to the answer of that yet because I hired one marriage therapist and only I went, and that person basically said, well, you should leave her, which was not satisfactory. So I went to another person, and this person didn't quite say that, but I did sort of come up with a speech, and I did sort of practice it with this guy. And then I eventually kind of delivered it to my wife, and she says, is that what your therapist told you to say? And I was like, well, yeah. And then I subsequently, hired an attorney to just sort of figure out the ropes if divorce was going to happen. So when she found that out, I was talking to her later, and she said, is that what your attorney told you to say? I'm like, well, and I came up with an okay response, which is, well, yes. I mean, I've never been divorced before. I don't know how any of this stuff works. I'm interested in saving the marriage. I'm trying to talk to somebody who is a professional who can help me through this because I don't know how to do it. And it just means that I'm committed to trying to save this thing. It doesn't make me a bad person. All right. Now I'll shut up now.
Yeah, no, it's good. So through all of that, how okay were you with yourself? How settled within your own body were you in your own mind of who you are when you said those things?
At that moment, not settled at all. I mean, I should have waited 24 hours before I said anything. When you're actively getting yelled at or accused of something, the ego kind of speaks up and wants to, I don't want to just roll over and let her call me names and do nothing, because that feels like weakness to me. But I guess what I should do is de-escalate, walk away, and revisit at a time when feelings are calmer.
Sure, that's fair. Well, play a game with me. I like to say that. So imagine that you were calm in that moment. What would have to change in your mindset, the story that you're telling yourself, where you felt comfortable in what you said, that you felt comfortable that, yeah, I read this out of a book and I want us to grow together. Or, yes, my therapist told me to speak with you about this. Yes. And you felt comfortable in yourself. How might that change your frame of mind in that conversation? Would it do anything for you?
I think so. And I think I'm probably in that place now. I wasn't in that place at the time, but I'm willing to admit that I'm seeking help. I don't necessarily think that's embarrassing. I think that means that I'm committed to try to change things for the better. And I don't know how to do that. So I'm getting help. And that, to me, that's an indication of commitment to, the marriage that I have.
Yeah,
So
totally. That's well put.
I
And
think I'm better now.
you can say what was put in the chat here. My wife once said, "You sound like you've been watching videos about how to talk to a girl." You can say, "Yeah, I'm getting ready for all the 20 somethings that are going to come through." One of my guys said that, "I'm getting ready for when the 27-year-old stays over." His, his wife didn't quite know what to say to that. Didn't know what to say to that. Well, so from there, do you have a particular question at that point? Because you and I could certainly speak about this more one-on-one, but is there a question on your mind that you might want to ask now or with Cynthia here about that spot with your wife where she challenges you there? And
I don't think so. I mean, the only scary thing about this, and a thing that actually just happened to me yesterday, is when you start to employ these techniques, it probably doesn't sound like you.
Hmm.
It doesn't sound like the person that she knows. And so if I'm saying something like last night, I mean, my wife and I are physically separated at this point. Um, but we text almost every day. And hold on, let me see. I get my phone because I think I had the text here. Actually, I posted it in the Facebook group. Let me see. Okay, so her father is ill. So she sent me a text saying, talked to my mother last night. They were so incredibly drunk, it was pathetic. My father is still in a rehab place. So I respond, it sucks to hear this from the drunky twins. What do you think is really going on? Okay. So I was trying to open her up, right? Saying, oh, this is bad. And what, tell me more, right?
right.
And she says, no clue. So, okay. Well, I did open her up a little bit. And then I said, I'm sorry, this feels like the never ending story. How are you holding up?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And she didn't answer. So I feel like at that point, she smelled a rat.
What does that mean? She smelled a rat.
That means she suspected that there was somebody else talking other than me, or somebody, like she was, like I was applying a technique to her. I don't know. Or maybe she
Okay.
just missed it entirely, but I think that she was like, who is who is this? And what have you done with my husband?
Well, that may be the case. What if it wasn't anything about you? What if it was just about her?
Oh, maybe. It just felt like sometimes if I start talking like that, it just seems out of character. I feel phony,
There we
and
go.
she thinks that I'm being phony.
Yeah. So you feel phony is part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so what's uncomfortable about that for you? What feels phony that this just didn't come to your own mind from birth, or what feels phony about that?
Yeah, I just think that there sometimes the words suggested by that author are words that I wouldn't say. But even he admits that validating what people say is really important and really effective, and it takes a while to figure it out.
Hmm.
And that's fine. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I just read this stuff a couple of days ago, so
Right. Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm working on it, right?
Yeah. And I guess my point is, do you have compassion for yourself? Do you have patience with your own self that it's a new sport that you're learning or it's a new
Sure.
approach? And yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for jumping in. If your woman has a shield up and she's not wanting to advance things forward, or she feels more comfortable being in her own shell right now, it doesn't matter how perfect or magical the words are or what you're trying necessarily, or how great and empathetic and caring was being there, that she just didn't answer him because she didn't want to share of herself. It might be something completely about her. How is that? What's going on for her potentially there? What do you see there?
I think it was an amazing question. And even though she didn't respond, it's still gold you dropped in the bucket of the space between the two of you. It was a gift, even though she didn't respond. So, why would a woman not respond? It reminds me of like a dam that's holding back all this water. And a lot of times for women, if they've spent even a lifetime of kind of holding back really intense feelings, or it sounds like she had a kind of a really rough, if not upbringing with a couple alcoholic parents, just like what it's the emotions that come with that even now. She believes that the dam barrier is what keeps everything flowing in her life, how she keeps going. She doesn't want to lose control over that. She doesn't want to lose control with you, of herself, of her emotions. And so she sounds pretty hell bent right now on keeping that dam intact, almost as a, it may feel to her, she thinks she's being strong, it might look like she's got all the cards in her deck, but it really is like clinging on to the life raft that she desperately will not let go of.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I know a lot of guys can relate to that, or it makes sense.
I think the wife, she says she wants to work, but I don't think she really does. Because you remember how I mentioned about working and finding somebody to work with us to bridge that gap. I mentioned the previous when she said no, so I'll find somebody else. And it's more counselor type of setting. And she came back and she was like, so I gave her 3 options of counselors pretty much. I was like, all right, you can, if you want, look them up, see how they feel. I'll set up an appointment and we go from there. And it took a week. So I had to pretty much mention it again. Hey, did you have a chance to look at this and this? And she was like, well, I don't think that's going to work because that it was 5 years ago. So I don't think
What was 5 years ago?
counseling, like a marriage counselor.
Oh, okay.
So she was like, I don't think that's going to work. I was like, okay. She said, I think what we need is some kind of discernment type of counselor, which is going to be like, is this worth working on? Should we go our separate ways or should we stay the way we are?
Okay.
And,
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, keep going.
So that's what she said pretty much.
Right.
At this point, I'm really losing steam. You know what I mean? It's like, and now I just find out that she opened a savings account on her own, which she started putting money into it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I found out that because I always look at the checking accounts, like when direct deposits come in from, and I just noticed that her paychecks have been going, it's not much, but it's like $300 under, right? So, and she got her own account now. So all the money that is going direct to her other account that she hasn't mentioned anything.
Right.
Also, her mom passed away a couple of years ago. Her partner gave her, I think it was like $5,000, something like that. She never mentioned anything. So she put it into that account. And that to me, that seems kind of shady, right? Because she doesn't mention anything and now she's putting money away. But in the meantime, she's claiming that she still wants to find a way of somehow work on the relationship, right? Or I don't know, or make me believe that we're working on it. So at this point, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Like, let me make him believe that I'm still working on it, that I'm still gonna string him along and see how long we can drag this for. While she gets her finances maybe like established or something. I don't know. I don't know what her goal is. I haven't said anything that I know that she has that separate account or that she has all this money and that she's putting money away. I think it's better if she doesn't know that I know. So yeah, that's where I'm at pretty much, dealing with that.
Yeah, good times, very fun. Yeah. so
Losing
I'm
some sleep.
losing some sleep.
Yeah, because it's not the matter of the money, it's the matter of hiding things.
Yeah, it's a betrayal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're here and talking with us about it. Certainly, it is a betrayal, regardless of how much money it is to hide these things. I mean, when we get married, we're in bed together legally, financially, and all these other ways. And that's a part of the journey together. That's one of the things that you do. You're no longer a single individual. And unless you have something purposefully separate, and then the two of you are open about it, and you discuss it and such and such. So regardless of the marriage counseling, you finding out this about finances is its own thing. And whether you want to bring that up with her or not is obviously up to you. But okay, so turn the page for me and take us from there. What do you want next for yourself? What do you see over the horizon here, over the next hill for the next 30 days for you? Or do you have a question or something you want to put on the table?
No, right now I'm just doing my thing, at home, still doing my part of like running the household and trying to be as supportive as possible, you know what I mean? Like when I'm home and I'm off, still pick up like dates that I'm responsible for cooking, responsible for being the main person taking care of the kids and dealing with those things, And kind of like still uh go to the gym. I just got back from the gym. So keep going, doing that, doing my thing. So yeah, go from there pretty much and see what happens. I think the next step is going to be put my parents in the loop, what's going on, you know. So in their eyes, our marriage is strong, you know. But I think it's gonna come to a point that I gotta let them know, you know.
So what would be the point of that? So that you can get support, or what would be the point of telling them?
Yes, that and so they don't have the illusion either that one day I might just be like, hey, and we're not together anymore. You know what I mean? So kind of just ease it in there, because I don't know how she's gonna take it. My parents, especially my mom, because one of my other brothers also got divorced. My middle brother also, they're still together, but they're not working well, you know what I mean? So they're gonna be like, what the hell is going on? I don't want them to blame themselves.
Sure. So you didn't ask me, but if I may, and if you want to just say, whatever, shut up, Jeff. But okay. So I've done this a long time. I've seen a lot of men talk about this. And as soon as you open it up to family,
Yeah,
it's now much less contained. Your parents will worry. It'll probably get around to your wife, and it's not an active, direct way of trying to deal with something. It's now if you want support from them, I understand, and it's like throwing a giant boulder in the middle of a, kiddie pool.
yeah,
It's like, okay, it might be windy and you want to weigh down the pool a little bit more, but maybe we should think of other ways to do that than throwing a big stone in the middle of a kiddie.
yeah.
It's
That's why I
going
haven't
to
done it
cut.
yet.
Yeah, it's going to cause a lot of splashes. Your wife will definitely know something is up then. It's going to come back. It makes your parents worry. It doesn't actually solve anything. It just
Yeah,
causes a lot of emotional turmoil in the family, really, to be honest.
yeah,
And if something happens where the two of you aren't together anymore, you just deal with that with your parents then.
yeah,
That's what I see. I don't know anything about your parents, but you and I know each other fairly well. And so, okay, what I see is you're losing sleep. There's this financial betrayal that you've just found, regardless of how much money it is, volume wise, and you're feeling really down about your wife not wanting to go to marriage counseling. She wants, should discernment counseling, which is okay. But what do you want next? In other words, here's my homework for you.
yeah,
Imagine it's 5 years from now or 10 years from now, and you're looking back and is there anything that you will lament not speaking up about? Will you regret not saying something to your wife or being lovingly insistent upon something or making a certain decision for yourself? Because yeah, being a dad and cooking and taking care, like yeah, of course you're going to do all those things and
yeah,
you kick ass at that and you're an amazing man, an amazing dad and all of that. You're already doing all of that. But if you think about you in the future, 10 years from now, and you look back, is there something you're going to maybe regret not saying, not doing, not taking action on? That's what I'd like you to do some homework on. So think about that, write about that for 10 minutes, and we'll talk about it again in the future.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
So do that.
Thanks.
All right. Yeah. Good to see you, Caesar, for sure. We're all here for you, man. I appreciate you bringing this up. Yeah, man, Rod, I vented to my dad when my wife and I were having issues at one point. I never heard the end of it from my dad about those issues even years later. Yeah. I've seen that a lot. I think what we want when we go to our parents is support, but it really doesn't actually, and they may support us, and that feels good because we're feeling a sort of hole in our chest of our woman isn't supporting us. We're not being validated by her. The loved one, we're feeling abandoned by the loved one in our life. So we want to go to that safety of our parents. And I totally understand that if that's the case, but it causes all these shock waves. It makes your wife, she'll be upset that you shared it around. She knows something's up. It kind of just lays your cards on the table, and then everyone throws in their amateur point of view, and maybe your parents give her shit behind your back. It's just like this whole thing. It's this whole thing. So more effective is, what do you want to do? What do you want to do next? And so think about the future you talking with you. That's a or go post in the forum and ask other men for feedback or support or that kind of thing. That's what I've seen over and over and over. So thanks for bringing it up. You didn't ask me to say that. So if that's inappropriate, just say fuck you, Jeff, and move on. That's fine. But otherwise, I've seen that spot a lot. So let me take a step forward here. It's good to see you guys. You know, so many guys feel like Charlie Brown. This is an older drawing too. Look at his brow, his face. And we just keep giving her the football and asking her to do something. And then when she doesn't do it, or she enjoys watching Charlie fall on his ass, and he does it again and again and again, it's not effective to keep doing the same things over and over, right? And just to share another picture of Lucy, this is with Linus. And Linus doesn't care what Lucy thinks here. He's not asking her to do anything. He's into what he's into. He's into his music in this example. And of course, here she's like swooning over him and she loves the mastery that he has, but he doesn't give a shit. He's not asking her to do something. And that's what I want men in this spot to consider is you can be there for her. You can be there for her, and when she's grumpy or upset, you can do your best to validate her. But if she's just trying to get you to swing at the football, kick at the football again, so she can feel powerful seeing you fall on your ass, you don't need to play into that. You don't need to play into that anymore. You can do your best and turn the page. And for a little research that I always love to bring, this is from Psychology Today. This is from a PhD. When to seek help. 6 signs relationship is unhealthy. Love has ups and downs, but some problems are cause for concern. This might sound familiar, but real quick, emotional distance, sarcasm and disrespect, lack of trust, unwillingness to compromise, lack of intimacy, and control and manipulation. And that's why you're here bringing these questions to us as professionals and the other men to give feedback because you might feel like you're lost in the woods and you want to have a map, you want to have a compass. That's why you're here. So, from the book Hold On to Your Nuts, it's a book that we recommend to every man in coaching. And NUTS is an acronym, right? NUTS stands for non negotiable, unalterable terms. And that basically means, what do you value? What do you want? What are your boundaries? And here he writes, make no mistake, you will be tested. It may be your wife, your kids, your work, or any number of other people or circumstances. And that's why you have these non negotiables, your values. So when you're tested in life and the desires, needs, or self serving motives of others, you'll remain intact, the man you want to be. That's why it's crucial for you to hold on to your non negotiables and be completely okay with them and their potential consequences. Meaning, where the chips fall after that, it's okay. You're okay. You feel good about the man that you are. You're willing to die on that hill if necessary, if that's a non negotiable for you. He goes on, when you embrace them without reservation and without conditions, you won't get angry when they're tested. You'll be able to respond, if a response is necessary, calmly and even lovingly, as you let the quote tester know that that's not going to happen. That's not something that you do, or that's not okay with you. As a man in one of our groups says, having nuts is the opposite of being wishy-washy. And being wishy-washy was my great failing, he said. So you know the Stoic Triangle if you're into our work, and I'll save more of that for another time. Oh, by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. We've got paid stuff on our website, free stuff on our website, greatmenmovemountains.com. I do coaching, something I do group coaching, and we've got an online digital training course, how to turn your marriage around. So go ahead and check out that stuff, greatmenmovemountains.com.
If you have questions, post them in the comments below. Also, go up to our video details. We have a link for our online video training course. It's all about turning your marriage around.
Last time we spoke about being excited for life again, regardless of her. We've got almost 900 YouTube videos. Go check out our stuff. And today, of course, I can't stand her disrespect anymore. I want my mojo back. So, number one, do you like yourself? Do you think that you're a cool guy? Do you like your life? Because that's the number one thing you can control here, right? What can I really control here? I can control my life. I can control my game plan, the way that I think about these things, how I build friendships and hobbies, and how I make money and everything else. How is my life? Do I feel like I'm a good guy, cool guy? And number three, what's the next best thing you can do for your life, for yourself? And maybe that's being here. Maybe that's watching this video. Maybe that's posting a question in the comments, or coming on and asking a question and being among us and the guys here in the chat. We love you guys being here. So, Cynthia, with these three takeaways for today, what have you seen here with these men, the men that bring these questions here?
Yeah, well, in the beginning, I loved the metaphor, the comment of, I've come to the end of the road. And I feel that in my body is so powerful because as I've gotten to learn and try to even understand the depth of masculine honor, uh, it almost sometimes strikes me as like the unending road, the unending honor. And when I feel on this call the moments of standing still in your masculinity on the road, it doesn't end the honor, but it sets the boundary place. And it is really important for a woman in all her water and all she wants to pour out and all she wants you to hold to feel your boundary place. And that is us, can be a huge starting point for her of something new and different and a different way of interacting with you. And regardless, it is so powerful. And I feel that every time I'm on this call, I feel your feet on the ground and that it does make a difference.
It does make a difference. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Cynthia. Good to see you guys. See you next time. Email me if you have questions. Love you guys being here. Ciao, guys. See you next week.